shake off that turkey tryptophan, that chemical that makes you tired, get up and start worshiping our Lord.
Thank you for your unending promises. Thank you for all that you have done for us and all that there is still yet that you have for us. In Jesus' name. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. And overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God always chases me down, bites till I'm found, leaves a 99 I couldn't earn, no, I don't deserve. Still you
Father, we go to great lengths sometimes to run away from you, to hide from you. We'll even try to give you excuses as to why you shouldn't love us, or how you can't love us. But God, nothing stops you. Nothing we've done, nothing we're doing, nothing we can ever do will stop you from chasing us down and showing us your love. We thank you for that this morning. It's in your name we pray. Amen. You have a seat. We're going to dive straight into our time of communion this morning, which means we have a soul care question. Today's is there anyone whom I fear, dislike, disown, criticize, hold resentment toward, or disregard? Coming off of Thanksgiving, I'm sure that all of us would say, absolutely not, right? We just spent all this wonderful time with all of our perfect families and all of our wonderful friends who never do anything wrong to ever make us mad or tick us off or annoy us or anything like that, right? So we're all good. We can push this question aside, sit down, just enjoy the meeting. No. Unfortunately, we all deal with these relationship breakers. Each and every one of these things that you see on the screen here, we deal with in a very real sense. And each one of them drives a wedge between us and another person. Whether that's family, whether that's friends, whether that's coworkers, wherever it is, it drives a wedge in that relationship. God calls us to be relational people, to be loving relational people. This doesn't help. We need to kick these habits from our lives. We need to kick these thoughts from our lives. There are three core reasons why these elements enter our lives. The first is that we run into people who we think that we're better than. Again, we spent a few weeks ago, the question dealt with us comparing ourselves to other people, but we revisit it here. Because there are times when we're dealing with people, especially when we're gathered in large groups, where somebody will do something and you're like, oh, thank goodness I'm not like them. I spent last Saturday, with Riley's childhood friends. All of her childhood friends get together for a Friendsgiving every year, and all the guys who have married in, we all spend a Friendsgiving evening together. And one of the guys in that group chooses to use some choice language in describing things. So he's pretty harsh in the way he describes things. And at the dinner table, he said something that was fairly off-putting to most of the group, and when his wife corrected him, he said, "Why does it matter? I'm not friends with any of these guys. I wouldn't even know them if it weren't for all of you being friends when you were kids." The table went silent. And we all were kind of like, oh, where do we go? The corn is delicious, right? Yeah, like, we kind of set it to the side, and then later, when he wasn't in the room, there were some tweet birds chirping about the way he was acting, the way that he was presenting himself and talking about us and our relationships. And it wasn't positive. It was, how could he say that? How could he do such a thing? How could he think such a way? Well, we're doing the same thing right back to him, right? Instead of confronting him and saying, no, instead of challenging the viewpoint, instead of saying, yeah, we're friends, and here's why. Here's why I consider you a friend. We chose to sit back and say, well, thank goodness I don't have that same perspective. So we struggle with that. Another is that we just don't get along with certain personalities. Now, God made us all in His image, which means that there is a piece of God in each and every one of us. Still, you will not get along with every single person. There are some of my friends, again, they love how loud and boisterous I am. Others constantly tell me, Brian, you need to shut up once in a while, right? This is where the extrovert and introvert meet oftentimes. The extrovert will ask like 97 questions at Thanksgiving. The introvert will sit back and say, if you ask me one more, I'm going to slap you, right? And in the same way, the introvert, like while they think that they've given that answer, the extrovert just wants more. When these relationships, when these people with these characteristics get together, a lot of times, some of these feelings can arise. We need to fight that. Imagine if Jesus was sitting with his disciples when Peter was out of the room, and he's like, guys, listen, I know that there are 11 of you here, and there's supposed to be 12. It's a good number. I use it pretty often. It's a great number. It's Peter guy. He doesn't think before he does things. He doesn't think before he speaks. I know that he's going to deny me a few times. Can we just send him out of his way? No, that's not what Jesus does, right? Jesus brought everybody in. He brought them together because each and every single person can work to serve his purpose. We need to see that in each other. Finally, another reason that we enter into feeling in these ways is that we feel that we've been wronged, or we've been hurt by someone else. That pain is very real. It can be from a family relationship. It can be from a divorce. It can be from getting fired. It can be from a friendship that's gone decades and that trust was broken somehow. The pain is very real. However, the resentment that we hold, the critical thoughts that we cling to, the relationship that we are choosing to disregard, that's not living a Christ-like life. That's doing, in fact, the complete opposite of what we're called to do. So, this week's challenge is to, in fact, pray about the relationship where you experience one of these feelings. Fear, disliking, disowning, criticize, resentment, disregard. What's the relationship? Is it with a parent? Is it with a child? Is it with a sibling? Cousins? Again, co-workers, friends? Where do you see this coming up in your life? And this week, my challenge is for you to spend the week with God. Pray about this relationship. Pray and ask, what is it about this relationship that's causing me to feel this way? Allow God to work in your life this week. Feel His unending, His love that will chase you down everywhere. And then in December, so after spending a week in prayer about this, spend December finding the opportunity to confront this relationship in a very loving way. Remove this from your life. Not the person, not the relationship. Seek resolve. Even if the other side isn't willing to be there yet. Open that door to fix. We're going to have about 30 seconds to pray about this and begin thinking about it. After that, the worship team will begin to sing a song. At that time, you feel free to come to either the two stations at the front or the two stations at the back to receive communion this morning.
For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, whosoever believes will not perish, they shall have eternal life. I shall look to the cross. I shall hold to God alone. For His love has salvaged me. For His love has set me free. For God so loved
Servers are going to come and receive the morning offering. As they do, we're going to share the morning's announcements with you, which you can receive in an email format every Sunday at 8 a.m. If you go to southfieldchurch.com, scroll all the way to the bottom, go over to the right and hit that blue plus mark. All you have to do is enter your email, and you will receive our announcements that you can follow along with in real time during the service. If you'd like to do that, you can do that at the website or at the Welcome Center this morning. Today, if you open up your links and follow along, you'll see that we have some permanent links up there at the top. Some of them include like the Bible app teaching specifically tied to our sermon today. Also, we have some other links for you to follow along with our Old Testament reading that we're doing and things like that. So those you'll see every single week. Now, this week, what makes our links unique are an opportunity to get involved in our coffee team. Granted, I can't do this job because I was drinking all before anybody got here, but we're looking for some people to take that first step into serving. So if you've been trying to get your foot in the door and trying to figure out, like, where can I serve at Southfield, this is a perfect opportunity. It's an easy on, easy off schedule. So if you're looking to, again, get that first serve done, or maybe you haven't served in a while and you're just looking for a way to get back involved, go to the website today or follow along with the link and let us know that you're interested because we're going to be setting up that team for 2019 coming up here soon. Another thing that you'll read about if you picked up a folder this morning is our Christmas Eve service. We have a really exciting time coming up that's going to be totally unique as compared to anything that we've ever done before. In here at 3 p.m., we're going to have our somber, quiet, contemplative service like we normally do. The real fire passing around, with the candles, you get to play with wax and all that good stuff. Lights are dim, everything's, again, calm, contemplative, quiet. At the same time, in the gym, or Family Life Center, my bad, we are going to have a totally family-friendly service. This is, again, a really cool chance for you to experience Christmas Eve in a not so, hey, you have to be quiet way. Right? And I'm reading the announcement this morning. Last week, I told you guys that I would be going to the real fire service because I like fire. But then I'm reading. There are more details that come out about the service that's going on in there. There's going to be a live stream, so you get the same experience in terms of the message. But there's going to be a family photo booth. There's going to be snacks and hot chocolate over there. There are going to be glow sticks. So I think I may be tiptoeing towards the back of the service during that time, going from in here to over there, because that just sounds like a ton of fun. You don't have to have kids in order to be in that service, but we will have both tables and rows set up in there so that you can again accommodate if you have kids. That's going to take care of our child care for the evening, because we want you to spend that time as a family without having to hold the hand over the kid's mouth. So either experience is open to you, and we hope that you not only come yourself, but you have the opportunity to invite a friend, a family, or coworker to spend that time with us. Again, that's 3 o'clock on Christmas Eve. Tonight, Revive is taking the night off, so we will not be meeting. I know there's a lot of panic about homework that hasn't been done over the last 4 days off. So we'll take the night off here, but we'll get things rolling again this Wednesday and next Sunday as we get ready for the winter season. And really excited. We have our winter retreat, Arctic Blast. Registration open, both for junior high and high school, so you want to make sure to go to the website today, put in news and events, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, the last one there is for Arctic Blast. There are 2 separate registrations, so there's one for junior high, because they're going the first weekend of February, and one for high school, because we're going the last week of January, and both are going to be just totally amazing experiences, so we hope you get signed up for that. Without further ado, we do have, we've been going through a jam-packed week, right? We had Thanksgiving, where we were all, together with family and friends and eating our complete full. And then you had Black Friday, which starts on Thursday. Figure that out. But you have Black Friday, and I didn't see any forehead footprints. So good to see that we all stayed safe on Black Friday. Then we had Small Business Saturday. Tomorrow we've got Cyber Monday, so it's all about shopping. Little did you know, we actually have a special day here at Southfield. Today is Substitute Sunday. No, it's not me. It's someone far better at speaking than I am. We have John Beaker here to present the message this morning. And no, having done some substituting myself, I know the kids get that fire in their eyes. They're like, yes, a substitute, I can do whatever I want. No. John's got a really powerful message for us this morning. So if you would turn and welcome John this morning.
That's a new one on me, Substitute Sunday. I don't think I've been called a substitute before, but that's all good. So I have to pick on Christmas Eve. It's either here or there. I can't go. Okay, all right. Well, maybe we'll try it. Be interesting. It's going to be fun. I'm excited about it. Well, as Brian said, I'm John Beaker. I'm one of the overseers here at Southfield, and always enjoy the opportunity to be able to talk with you. Now, many of you, if you've known me for a while, know that I have a brother. My brother's name is Dave. He's local. He's close by. He lives in Aurora. We just got a chance to connect the other day at Thanksgiving at my mom's house. We had turkey. It was a great time. But here's what you need to know about Dave. Dave's a wise man. Very wise. Very smart guy. You see, because when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, I'm told that there was a term that described my behavior type. I was told that I was the strong-willed child. And so my parents made sure that I had a very clear understanding of another term, and that would be the rod of discipline. Maybe not as much my favorite, but Dave is a wise man. Because Dave learned, he watched all the mistakes that were made, and wanting to avoid the rod of discipline, he did not repeat many of those same mistakes. Very, very wise individual. I suppose there is some value in being the younger child. So I don't know. The wisest of people, like my brother Dave, learn from the examples and the mistakes of others. They don't repeat them. Sometimes the lessons learned show us the path that we need to take. And other times they reveal a path that we should avoid. Today, we'll be investigating the wilderness wandering of the children of Israel. It serves as a case study on ways to embrace wisdom and avoid foolishness. The Israelites experienced victories that we should emulate. and they fell into pitfalls that we need to avoid. And the good news for us is that we're wise. If we're like Dave, we can read about those experiences and we can learn how to avoid their mistakes and replicate their victories. The wilderness experiences of our lives provide us with tremendous opportunities for growth. God places his people in the wilderness because only in that place can certain issues be confronted and specific lessons be mastered. The wilderness does not provide a lot of distractions. It is often a lonely place. And in the loneliness, we tend to pay a lot more attention to God. Throughout the Bible, many important people have spent time in the wilderness, including Moses, David, Elijah, John the Baptist, yes, even Jesus himself. Israel's wilderness experience lasted 40 years. And we're going to spend less than 40 minutes covering that topic. And in this time, we're going to look at 7 life lessons that the children of Israel confronted in the wilderness. Lessons that we can learn from if we choose to be wise. Now, the route that the people of Israel were to take was actually quite a simple one. If you look at the screen, you will see that the simplest and most logical way for them to take is called the way of the sea. Now, the trip from where they were in Egypt, referred to as Goshen, to where they were going is about 200 miles. And since we know that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, the most logical route looks simple. The way of the sea makes great sense. It's a scenic route running along the Mediterranean Sea and would be a relatively short trip that would only take a matter of weeks. But there are 2 problems with the straight line. First is it passes through the Sinai Peninsula, which is not a pleasant place. Second, the way of the sea, referred to in Isaiah 9 as is 9:1, has another name, has a different name. It's an international trade route known as the Way of the Philistines. Now, if you're not familiar with the Old Testament, the Philistines are not nice people. They become fierce enemies of Israel. The most famous Philistine, of course, is Goliath, the giant that David slew. In Exodus chapter 13, God reveals a different path that he wants Moses and the people to take, as well as the reason for giving them this route. We read, when Pharaoh finally let the people go, God did not lead them along the main road that runs through Philistine territory, even though that was the shortest route to the promised land. God said, if the people are faced with a battle, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led them on a roundabout way through the wilderness toward the Red Sea. Thus the Israelites left Egypt like an army ready for battle. There were other, more obvious choices for getting to Canaan, but God did not choose those. Instead, he took them on the way of the wilderness, dead south. The road took them to a significant place, one that we read about last week, Mount Sinai, the mountain of God, where they were given the 10 Commandments and the law. Rather than taking 2 weeks, this roundabout shortcut actually took them about a year. From there, they took a road called Mount Seir Road to the road, or the road of Kadesh Barnea. It went from the tip of the Sinai Peninsula to Canaan. Now we know how long this road took to travel under normal conditions. We read about it in the first couple of verses of Deuteronomy, where we learn that normally it only takes 11 days to travel from Mount Sinai to Kadesh Barnea, going by way of Mount Seir. This particular 11-day trip would take Israel 39 years to accomplish because of some of the foolish, disobedient choices that the Israelites made on their journey. As they go on their way, one of the things that we learn is that God himself led them. In Exodus 13, we read, the Lord went ahead of them. He guided them during the day with a pillar of cloud and provided light at night with a pillar of fire. This allowed them to travel by day or by night. And the Lord did not remove the pillar of cloud or the pillar of fire from its place in front of the people. This leads us to wilderness lesson number 1. Lesson number 1 is a lesson about God. In the wilderness, God is not in a hurry. God's primary concern is not speed. Ours usually is. We want to get there. Let's go. Let's get to where we're going. But God knew that where the people were going was not as important as who the people were becoming. He knew that possessing the land flowing with milk and honey was not as important as having a heart that possessed God's values. Life with God is not about speed and destination as much as it is about process and progress. If it took 40 years for them to develop a right heart, then by golly, 40 years it was going to take. And it sure did. It took all of that time. God's point, it's not where we're going that matters as much as who we're becoming. Not destination, but process. God would rather have us take longer to get somewhere and be sure that we arrive as the right people. When we would take vacations years ago, when my kids were little, there was a common refrain that would come from the back seat of the car. I'm sure you're familiar with that refrain. It goes something like this. Are we there yet? Have we gotten there yet? Are we there yet? Have we gotten to the place where it is that we're going? You know, it's really not that much different with us as God's children. We're always whining from the back seat. Are we there yet? Think about it. We live lives where we're constantly asking, are we there yet types of questions. When will I be done with school? Am I there yet? Have I arrived? When will I finally be a grown-up? Am I there yet? Oh, when will I fall in love? Am I there yet? When will I finally get out of college? Am I there yet? When will I move out? Which ironically is also a question that parents ask when they're in their 50s. Am I there yet? Have I arrived? When will I get married? Am I there yet? When will I find the perfect job? Am I there yet? And then, of course, the follow-up, when will I retire? Am I there yet? When will I die? Am I there yet? Remember, God is still more concerned with who we are becoming than how quickly we are getting to our desired destination. And it helps us to remember, God has a better view than we do. In 2 Peter 3:8, we're reminded that a day is like 1,000 years to the Lord, and 1,000 years is like a day. God is the creator of time and space. He's not bound by these things in the same way that we are. God is not in a hurry. And there are times when his slowness actually works to our advantage. In Psalm 103, we read that he, God, made his ways known to Moses, his deeds to the people of Israel. The Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love. When it comes to getting angry, I want God to be slow. Don't you? I want him to be slow. His slowness in that regard works in our favor. Are we there yet? Well, no. But we're getting there. Lesson 1 is a lesson about God. In the wilderness, God is not in a hurry. Now, lesson 2. Lesson 2 is a lesson about remembering. And it may sound obvious, but we need to hear it. Reminders help us remember. We need to be intentional about remembering who God is and what he has done for us. Think for a minute about all of what the people of Israel have been through up to this point. They've been delivered from Pharaoh. They've been delivered from slavery. They've been delivered from Pharaoh's army. They've walked across the sea on dry ground, no less. They saw God's power through the plagues and through a pillar of fire that was always in front of them. It would seem like this manifestation of God's presence and power would leave a lasting and indelible impression on his people. It would seem natural that the impact of these events would be with them forever. notice how quickly they forget. Exodus 15. Moses led the people of Israel away from the Red Sea, and they moved out into the desert of Shur. They traveled in this desert for 3 days without finding any water. 3 days. As the hideous orc from Lord of the Rings might have put it, we haven't had any clean water for 3 stinking days. 3 days, just 3. After witnessing countless miracles, after witnessing God miraculously parting the Red Sea on their behalf, they're discouraged, they grumble, and if you can imagine, they even get angry. The Bible uses a word to describe their action and attitude. The Bible said that the people murmured. They murmured. It took them only 3 days to forget all that God had done for them. You'd think that after all they saw, that their faith would be rock solid, unshakable. This time, from the back seat of the car, they're not asking, are we there yet? No. They're whining, I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. Can we stop? Can we go back? Can we please just go back to where we came from? They, like us, suffer from short-term spiritual memory loss. All throughout the Old Testament, God's people are encouraged to remember what God has done for them. One of the practical physical ways they were to do this was to set up a pile of stones as a visible sign to remember what God had done for them. In Joshua chapter 4, God miraculously parts yet another body of water in front of the people and has them do something so that they won't forget. We pick up the story in Joshua 4. It says, so Joshua called together the 12 men that he had chosen, one from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. He told them, go into the middle of the Jordan in front of the ark of the Lord your God. Each of you must pick up one stone and carry it out on your shoulder. 12 stones in all, one for each of the 12 tribes of Israel. We will use these stones to build a memorial. In the future, your children will ask you, what do these stones mean? Then you can tell them. They remind us that the Jordan River stopped flowing when the Ark of the Lord's covenant went across. These stones will stand as a memorial among the people of Israel forever. God wanted them to remember, and he wants us to remember too. Maybe we won't literally pile rocks, although we have done that. If you go into the parking lot and dig up one of the islands, you'll find stones that Mid Southfield wrote prayers on years ago before the parking lot was finished. But maybe it won't always be a pile of stones, but we need to compile some sort of marker of God's goodness and faithfulness to us. Something that will help us to mark the moment, to remember the way that we felt when God did something special in our lives. Some people keep a list of answered prayers. God showed up. He showed up again. He delivered me out of a situation. Maybe you'll choose to keep a Thanksgiving journal where you write down things that you are thankful for to remember, and not just on Thanksgiving. Maybe we need to hold on to a particular receipt or bill stub at a time when it seemed like the money wouldn't be there, but God showed up. Take a picture. Literally. Keep an album of photos. You may have noticed that we have a few around Southfield. Prayer chairs. If you go to the foyer and look at some of the pictures on the wall, they're just reminders of times that we've seen the manifestation of God's presence in a real and powerful way. Forgetting is easy. Anybody can forget. Remembering is worth it. But it's worth it. 3 days and they forgot. And in the forgetting, they grumbled. Oh, did they grumble? This leads us to lesson number 3. Lesson 3 is a lesson on people. Grumbling is contagious. Unfortunately, we, like Israel, are prone to grumble. It is human nature. But we need to fight against this temptation. When the people of Israel came to Marah and the water was bitter, they complained. They forget God's mighty acts, and they focus only on their thirst. We pick up the story in Exodus 16. There's a key word that we see repeated throughout this text. So Moses and Aaron said to all the Israelites, in the evening you will know that it was the Lord who brought you out of Egypt. And in the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your grumbling. against him. But who are we that you should grumble against us? Moses also said, you will know that it was the Lord when he gives you meat to eat in the evening and all the bread you want in the morning, because he has heard your grumbling against him. Who are we? You're not grumbling against us, but against the Lord. Then Moses told Aaron, say to the entire Israelite community, come before the Lord, for he has heard your grumbling. While Aaron was speaking to the whole Israelite community, they looked toward the desert. And there was the glory of the Lord appearing in the cloud. The Lord said to Moses, I have heard grumbling of the Israelites. Tell them, at twilight you will eat meat, and in the morning you will be filled with bread. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God. What's the key word in that text? What did you hear over and over again? Grumbling. Grumbling. We've heard it over and over. The New Living Translation uses the word complain, but grumbling is really more apt. Grumbling is a sin. There's no question about it. Grumbling causes dissension. It creates division. It stimulates dissatisfaction. As believers in Jesus, we need to fight to maintain the unity that Christ died to give his church. Grumbling is a sin that God wants to purge from our lives. This calls for some self-evaluation. We need to take a look at our lives. Is it possible that we've fallen into a pattern of grumbling and complaining? It is helpful and even necessary for a growing Christ follower to occasionally do a heart check and ask the tough question. Am I grateful? Am I a grumbler? If you're really gracious, you might even ask a close friend for their perspective on the topic. Growing out of this grumbling tendency, we learn lesson number 4. Lesson number 4 is a lesson on perspective. Discontentment, which arises from grumbling, discontentment distorts our perspective. It distorts our perspective and twists our view of reality. In Exodus 16, we see how the entire perspective of the Israelites has been warped. In discontentment, they begin to rewrite history. Discontentment can distort our perspective and play with our minds. We begin to maximize how bad our present condition is, and we start looking with rose-colored glasses at the past or at how things look for someone else. This is human nature. We pick up the story in Exodus 16:3. The people moan, oh, if only the Lord had killed us back in Egypt, they moan. There we sat around pots filled with meat and ate all the bread we wanted. But now you, Moses, have brought us into this wilderness to starve us all to death. Think about this for a minute. What was their occupation in Egypt? They were slaves. They were slaves there. They did not sit around having fondue all day long. That's not the reality. They were in forced servitude. They were beaten down. They were miserable. They watched the Pharaoh of Egypt murder their children. This is not the good old days. But now, discontentment about their present situation causes them to see the past in a distorted light. That's what discontentment does. Discontentment turns us into liars. We misremember, and it causes us to forget the amazing things that God has done. Huge mistake. Huge. They want to return to Egypt? Oh, for the good old days, they say. The good old days were awful. They were terrible. The real good days were the days that God showed up in power, in force to liberate them. But where was the person standing up to remember that? Nowhere. They forgot. And unfortunately, so do we. Lesson 5 is a lesson on provision. Daily bread arrives. Oh, daily. Amid all of this grumbling, God works one of the greatest miracles of the Bible. He throws down bread from heaven, manna, which literally means, what is it? Bread falls from heaven. What is this? I don't know. What should we call it? What is it? That's its name. Let me give you a little bit more on what this bread from heaven was like, this manna was like. We read about it in Exodus 16. It says, when the dew evaporated, a flaky substance as fine as frost blanketed the ground. The Israelites were puzzled when they saw it. What is it? They asked each other. They had no idea what it was. And this is where we find the first mention of any breakfast cereal in the Bible. Frosted Flakes. And the people took one bite and they said, they're great! It was there, it had to be said. Sorry, it had to be made. But sadly, truthfully, sadly, after a very short time, even after this, they complained about this provision from God. There are two lessons on provision here. First, God knows our needs, and He provides it. The second, He provides just enough. Jesus called it our daily bread, just what we need today. Now, manna collection came with a stipulation. Collect just enough for today. Those who stored it up opened the container the next day to find that it was rotten and full of maggots. However, on Friday, before the Sabbath, they were to collect enough for 2 days. And even in this, we see the power of God working, because then, on those 2 days, unlike the other days, the manna stayed fresh, and it was still good. The lesson of manna is no mystery. We learn it from Deuteronomy 8:3, where we read, yes, He, God, He humbled you by letting you go hungry, and then feeding you with manna, a food previously unknown to you and your ancestors. He did it to teach you that people do not live by bread alone. Rather, we live by every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. Interesting, that might come back in the New Testament. Keep going. Look at verse 4. For all these 40 years, your clothes didn't wear out, and your feet didn't blister or swell. God was teaching His people to depend on Him one day at a time. They could not rely on their own strength, their own wisdom, their own resources. They had none. In the wilderness, they learned that everything they needed was in the hands of God, and that He gladly and willingly supplies His children with their daily bread. We're tempted, like some of the people, to get anxious and worry about where the supply will come from. On the other extreme, we get greedy, trying to hoard enough just in case God doesn't come through. But maybe the worst, though, is when we are literally holding the manna in our hands, the gift straight from God, and we reject the great gift, demanding something else instead. Something that we choose instead of something that God chooses to give. Lesson 6 is a lesson about presence. God is with us. Always. Emmanuel. God is with us. We can choose to walk in the real life-changing presence of God, or we can cling to lifeless idols. You see, the wilderness wanderers ask the question that goes through all of our minds at one point or another: is the Lord among us or not? Is He here or is He not? We see this in Exodus 17. Moses named this particular place Massah, which means test, and Meribah, which means arguing. Because the people of Israel argued with Moses and tested the Lord by saying, is the Lord here with us or not? After all they went through, the Exodus, the Red Sea, the manna, it really makes you scratch your head. The question that they are asking is not, was He there, but is He here? There's a huge difference. Maybe you can point to some time in your life that you can say without question, God was there. He was there. But in the same breath, you're asking, is He here today? Will He be there tomorrow? Nowhere is this more evident than in Exodus 32. God leads the people to Mount Sinai. Now, they're not hungry at this point. God took care of that need. They're not thirsty because God took care of that need too. All they need to do is wait. Just wait. Just be patient. But waiting seems to bring out the worst in this bunch. In Exodus 32, we read, when the people saw how long it was taking Moses to come back down the mountain, they gathered around Aaron. Come on, they said, make us some gods who can lead us. We don't know what happened to this fellow Moses who brought us here from the land of Egypt. Look at the wording here. Look at what they're saying. This fellow? Really? This guy? What's his name? You know, the staff guy who went down and turned into a snake, Nile with the blood or whatever. Oh, Moses. Yeah, that's right. Moses. What's his name? Where's he? He gone. I don't know. The people cry out to Moses' brother Aaron, make us gods. Little g and plural. Really? Little g and plural. Make us gods who will go before us. They don't want to wait. They're not interested in the God who gave them the gift. No. Make us gods who will go before us. They just want to get out of the wilderness. Get to the milk and honey place. Just get us to the good place. They're in a rush. They're in a big hurry to get there. The people are unwilling to wait for 40 days. They want to control God rather than be led by Him. They prefer to have a golden calf that they can manipulate rather than a living God that they have to obey. A lot of us are like that. With an idol, a golden calf, we get our way. With God, we must listen, follow. Amazingly, Aaron gives in. Of course, when he's confronted by Moses about why he did this, he gives the human family answer, the one he learned from Father Adam and Mother Eve. He held out his finger and pointed with every ounce of his being and said, they made me do it. It was the people. They made me do it. Another blamer in a long line of blamers. And his follow-up excuse is priceless. In verse 24, Aaron says, so I told the people, whoever has gold jewelry, take it off. When they brought it to me, I simply threw it in the fire and out came this guy. Unbelievable, Moses, you should have been there. I've never seen anything like it in my life. In went the gold and bam, out comes the cow. Cool. Not cool. Once again, we see the human tendency to blame others, to blur the facts, rather than to fess up and take responsibility for the wrongdoing. God had not left his people. He was there. But their failure to wait on him caused them to fall into a great and terrible sin. The final lesson, lesson 7, is a lesson about power. The power of fear and the power of faith. Numbers 13 is a critical juncture when it comes to the wilderness wanderings of the people. They're on the cusp of entering the promised land. But before they do, Moses sends 12 spies to scope out the land. Here's the report they give. We entered the land that you sent us to explore, and it is indeed a bountiful country, a land flowing with milk and honey. Imagine that, exactly what God said. Here's the kind of fruit that it produces. But the people living there are powerful. And their towns are large and fortified. We even saw giants there, the descendants of Anak. Well, we've got good news and we've got bad news. Good news, lots of milk, lots of honey. Bad news, apparently the milk has a growth hormone in it. Because the people are huge. They're enormous. Far bigger than the average Israelite. What are we going to do? 10 spies come back. Discouraging report. But 2 give a dissenting report. Caleb tried to quiet the people as they stood before Moses. Let's go at once and take the land, he said. We can certainly conquer it. Let's do it. God has given us the land. Let's go. Unfortunately, the people chose to follow the erroneous majority opinion and refused to enter the land. Here's a powerful thing. It robs us of the potential of walking with God to new and exciting places. Faith leads us on an exciting journey of daily trust in God. There's a term that we learn in Numbers 13, a phrase that reveals a term or what the people thought of themselves. It says, we seemed like grasshoppers in our eyes, and we looked the same to them. This sentence reveals the power of fear. Not only did the 10 men feel like grasshoppers with no strength, but the people quickly caught on to the grasshopper complex as well. Many of these people had never fully recovered from the mentality that they had learned in bondage in Egypt. As far back as they could remember, they had been small, they had been insignificant, powerless, no hopes, no dreams, just fear. Sadly, this generation would never see themselves as anything but grasshoppers. God saw them differently. God had better places for them to go, better plans for them to follow, but they simply would not allow hope to fill their hearts ever again. Every one of us has a choice. Fear or faith. Will I keep thinking of myself as a grasshopper, a nobody, a nothing, or will I have faith? You see, with faith, I may still see myself as small, as a grasshopper, but who I am is not as important as who God is and what He wants me to do. This weekend, as the turkey continues to digest, and as this day that we call Thanksgiving fades into the rearview mirror, let's take a few moments to reflect. Am I more prone toward gratitude or grumbling? Are others made hopeful by my words, or do I cast doubt and sow discontentment? Is God's presence a distant memory or a hope for future and a present reality? Are my life decisions ruled by fear or faith? Am I willing to wait in my wilderness, not rush it, not throw my gold in the fire and craft a god of my own choosing? Will I wait, knowing that the wilderness is less about destination and more about destiny, becoming who God wants me to be? Let's talk to Him. Father in heaven, You were with Israel every step of the way. They could see it. In a pillar of cloud, in a pillar of fire, You were there. You led them. You were with them. You are with us. You have given us Your Spirit. Thank You for the lessons that You teach us through these wanderings that Israel went through. God, I pray that we would live lives that are filled with faith, that we would not go back to being slaves to fear. That's not what You saved us for. You saved us to be more than conquerors. And I pray that we would live that out. In Jesus' name, amen. Enjoy your Sunday.